Hello, witches. It's Strigabella. I got another book today in the mail. The Witch's Coin, also by Christopher Penczak. I've been having some trouble getting my Gmails and also receiving comments from YouTube. So, if for some reason you've asked questions or made comments that I haven't responded to yet, um, I'm trying to clear out some data. If that might be the problem, I'm not getting my new comments and emails. It may be a storage issue. So stay tight, and hopefully I will be able to respond and get back to people soon. And I wanted to briefly talk about one of the books that I started reading, and I wanted to talk a little about it and give my opinion and commentary on it. It's this book, the 66 Laws of the Illuminati. I have their other two books, which the other two books were more I don't know, less personal, less informative, less emphatic and serious. But this one was something I'd recommend anybody involved in spirituality, in being a truth seeker, looking for divine wisdom, knowing thyself, that kind of stuff. If you like that kind of stuff, regardless of what you think of the group itself, or whether you love them, hate them, believe it or not, the book itself and the things in it, I think, are definitely worth reading. I started reading it, and it's just each page is like just a tiny little paragraph, and each page is a law. It starts with like law 1, law 2, and they're kind of like little proverbs, little words of wisdom and advice for people. And the advice is on being successful in life. And throughout the book, it stresses the fact that we all have the ability within us. We're all born the same. We start off as babies in the world. We have the opportunity. We have certain talents and innate abilities. And the circumstances of our lives can shape how we move forth in choosing to embrace our purpose or to shy away from it, either from fear or belief systems that have been ingrained in us that we can't, for whatever reason, that we've let our circumstance cause us not to achieve success. But the book continuously says that we all have the ability to succeed in whatever, especially in this day and age where knowledge is available to everybody and anybody. There was a time when that wasn't necessarily true, and there was a time in the world when we didn't have freedoms that we have now. But especially in the day and age, and the majority of the places on earth have some form of a democracy. There's a few places that don't, and a few places where they don't have the same kind of freedoms and opportunities. But the majority of the world now, we have the ability to go online, to make our own choices and pursue our own desires, dreams, goals, the happiness that we seek. But the problem that there's a little, in the middle of the book, there's a letter to the youth of the world, and it's very profound. It really touched me, and it talks about some of the accusations made against the Illuminati, saying that some of the singers, I guess there was a letter published recently accusing that they sold their souls and stuff like that. But reading the book, I mean, the only question that I do have is the stuff in this book is the lessons and the advice are so true, so right, and I'm just wondering that if this group has been around for the centuries and centuries, behind the scenes of world powers and stuff like that, if that's the case, why did they wait until now to publish such advice? And I mean, I think it could have been, if this book was published maybe a few decades ago even, that it could have really changed the course of the world. Um, but anyway, but the advice in it is kind of like saying how many people have terrible, horrible circumstances, yet because they have continued and they've not given up, and they continue slow and steadily to not give up, not give in, not let their enemies and people who want to hurt them or want to see them fail, they haven't let those circumstances cause them to give up. Even though some of their things that they've tried have failed, some things have not been successful, they've continued to learn, continued to try, and not to give up. And it also went on to talk about certain groups in society who they through particularly, I think it was talking about African American, how they use certain words and language to talk about their life and their situations, but they're using derogatory words about themselves. They're very violent in portraying that life and their culture as that way. And it was saying how we project an image of ourselves based on what we think of ourselves. And if we want others to perceive us in a better way, we need to perceive ourselves in a better way. And just everything in the book so far that I've read is just really great advice. And for me, it was just it was amazing to read, because for me it felt like the story of my life. A lot of the stuff in this book are things that I've fought to hold on to, and I've struggled to believe, even though I've been criticized, hated, not in the majority or in the popular groups, because I believed these things and I held on to them. Things like treating other people equal no matter who they are, giving people respect because they are humans. We're all humans. We all have strengths and flaws. And I've never been one to participate when people are teasing somebody over some judgmental stupid thing, like what they look like or how much they weigh, or stupid things. I never was one to go in with people on that. And it's just really amazing. And it talks about how the fact is so sad that the generation that we live in now has really lost a sense of purpose, a sense that they have a purpose in life, that we all have a purpose, not only for ourselves to be self-serving. We have a purpose and a responsibility to others, especially to our families, to our children. And this recent last couple decades has really fallen away from that. That we basically let kids just kind of educate themselves now in front of TV, internet. Parents, for the most part, aren't really participating in the way that that this book kind of describes. Teaching them those really deep, important values, to be true to your word. Let your word show who you are. Don't make promises that you can't keep. Just all these things about being wise and learning and constantly educating yourself, that in order to be a leader, you need to learn to be a good follower. If you never learn to respect authority, you're never going to be able to be a leader, because you didn't learn how to follow first. There's just a lot of really great things in here. And I think that one of the most important was that success isn't necessarily being famous or having a huge bank account or having a lot of stuff. Success is being on the inside, being the best person, the best you that you can be, using your time, your life, your talents, and the things that you do have control of, to be the best person you can be, to let yourself, let your light of who you are better the world in some way, even if it's a small way. You can know that you've had a successful life. You didn't waste your life. And I just never would want to be at the end of my life looking back on it with nothing but regret and feeling like I just wasted it all. That would be a horrible thing to have to feel. And we never know when our last day or our last moment is going to be. So time is something that we really should cherish and make good use of it to making time first for the things that really matter. I think, especially in America, we tend to think that we're gonna have our time later to do what we want or be what we want, or once we earn $1 million, then we can pursue our dreams or our goals or the things that we want in life. But I think it's not really serving your best highest good. I've always believed that if you're doing what you know is right and you know is good and makes you happy, then getting paid for doing it is just a bonus. If you're doing what you love, you're never gonna hate going to your job every day. You're gonna feel glad. And if you're doing what you love, it's gonna show in what you produce and the life that you are giving to those around you. So yeah, that's my little bit of advice. That's what I've gotten from the little lessons in this book so far. But I think it's a book, regardless of whether or not you believe the message from the group is true, that it really is what they believe or not. I just think that the messages in it are amazing. You can decide for yourself. I don't think it matters what religion, what walk of life or anything. It's pretty... it's not offensive to any belief system or any type of people, I don't think. To me, it applies to anybody and everybody just because you're a human being. It's really interesting, and I wonder why they chose now to publish it. I mean, they say why. They say, the state of the world and everything, that they want to reach out to the young generation because they are the future. But I just wonder why they waited, why they didn't come out with this a little bit sooner, even a couple decades or something. But anyway, it's worth reading. I think you guys in the spiritual community, witchy community, will enjoy it. And you could even, if you don't have a lot of time to read, you could do like one or two a day. They're very encouraging, uplifting kind of little proverbs, messages, and I think they'll help you. Okay, guys, blessed be. Bye.